All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we're going to be talking about something that starts tonight. It is called The Passage. It is a show on Fox based on a book trilogy, I believe, of the same name. Didn't read it. I wasn't looking forward to this show. I don't watch network television mostly. I watch maybe 2 or 3 shows, and I grew up on network television, but now that I have Netflix and Hulu and Amazon and Blu-rays and YouTube and just all the different ways to watch things, I just don't watch network TV. It's just mostly, it's not good. If you like it, and that's fine. But I find most network TV shows to just be absolute garbage. And it's not always their fault. I mean, network television is limited. But in Fox, this show comes out on Fox. And Fox has a really bad track record for starting high concept shows and then dumping them really fast. The amount of shows canceled by Fox in the past like 20 years, it used to be a joke a while back, man. There was even a thing on Family Guy where they listed every Fox show that was canceled, and it came around, that joke came out around the time that show got canceled. Anyway, long story short, why I'm telling you this is I didn't have any high hopes for this show, and I had no interest really. I thought it was kind of a Last of Us clone, even though I find out that the book was written before The Last of Us came out and stuff, and I don't know why I was letting that bother me anyway. So I decided, despite my complete lack of interest, because I'm not a Paul Gosselaar fan. Never have been. Even when I was a kid, I couldn't stand Zach Morris. I do enjoy watching Zach Morris's trash. But this show does have Henry Ian Cusick from Lost, and I'm a big fan of his. So I said, screw it. What else am I going to do on a Monday night anyway? So I decided to watch it. And just to let you know, I didn't hate this. And I thought I would. In fact, it's the best thing on network that I've seen, network TV. Now, I'm talking ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox. I don't really count the CW or whatever it is. But this is pretty good. It is high concept, and it does have some issues. But considering how little interest I had, and how my preconceived notion was that this was going to be garbage, I am here to tell you right now that I'm wrong. At least for the pilot episode, this is pretty good. It does a nice little job of not giving us too much, giving us enough setup with the 2 main characters, setting up the world a little bit, and setting us off to be curious of where they're headed. Now, I'm glad in these kind of situations that I didn't read the source material, because I don't know how accurate it is. But we might as well talk about how it, like full spoilers if you haven't seen it. But this is a recommendation video. I don't know if I'll be continuing to follow this show, regularly. But if you haven't seen it, and it'll probably be on Hulu tomorrow morning, or whenever you see this right now. I do recommend checking it out. And so for that just right there, before we start talking about the whole thing, that's just my recommendation. Thumbs up on this pilot episode. It's way better than the show that was on right before it called The Resident. And that show is dog shit. If you like it, fine. I just happen to think it's dog shit. But let's just start off with, okay, so this story starts with Henry Ian Cusick and his friend, Jamie, played by Jamie McShane, who's a character actor. They're in Bolivia looking for this guy who's like 250 years old. and they are there with a whole group of armed men. So I guess there must be stories surrounding this guy or what. I don't know why they're in Bolivia with an army, especially since they don't know what they're really looking for. But whatever. So they find this guy in a cave. He's locked in a cage. And of course, the guy just goes like running for the, like, look, the guy's 250 years old and he's living in a cage. If he was going to be dead, he'd be dead right now, right? It's not like... So the doctor does the dumb thing and goes rushing forward with the cage open, and too late to hear the word vampire. And so, of course, he's bitten and ends up in the hospital, where he makes a miraculous recovery and he's all better. Except he's a vampire. See, they don't say it in here, and in the trailers they keep saying there's no vampires, no such thing as vampires, but you just saw a vampire in a cave. I'm sure they're going to call it a disease like other things have. I think even the Blade series called it a disease too. Other things have called it a disease, like the vampirism is a disease. And that's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's all made up bullcrap anyway, right? So these guys are working on like cures for diseases like Ebola and avian flu and things like that. But they're done like they're a very secretive place, and they do work on and tests on death row inmates, and that's where I'm gonna try not to call him Zach Morris, where Mark Paul Gosselaar's character comes in. His name is, you know what? I so don't like him that I didn't even know his Brad. His name is Brad. Okay, I like him in this show, but I just don't like Mark Paul Gosselaar, historically speaking. And but he is all right in this. He is pretty good. It takes me, I have to like put on my, I have to pretend that I have never seen him in anything else before. And he is in a prison trying to get this guy to agree to test things on himself because he's on death row, and hey, other people have done it, and doctors start going over, there's an avian flu going around like in Asia or something, and it's just killing a whole bunch of people, and they don't know what to do, and this doctor says, let's go to the cells, and this is our exposition dump. The problem I have with this scene is these doctors, I believe, they should all, I believe they all know what's going on in this place. So why one doctor is explaining to all the other doctors that are doing the same tests what's going on with each of these guys in the cells they gave the initial patient zero, the doctor Tim Fanning, the guy who got bit. Why he needs to explain this to everybody that should already know all this, I mean, maybe there's a couple of people that have like certain clearances that they don't get, but I'm pretty sure that Ian Cusick's Dr. Jonas Lear, I think he knows, but he's standing there listening to this like it's the first time he's heard any of this. I'm afraid that I don't buy that for a second. It's just for us. It's for us to know more background on things. So we're just supposed to believe that all these characters, it's the first time they're hearing this. And what they're saying is like a difference, each person has like different stages that they go through, like before the vampire takes over, the disease takes over. And they have a certain amount of time before it completely takes them over. And as each person comes along, they're learning more so that it takes longer for them to give in to the monster part of it. And so they're saying what they need is a younger test subject, because the youngest, like a kid, could, if they took injected them with the vampire virus, they could come out being completely immune to all these drugs and the monster part of it. And then they could use that kid as basically able to save the whole world. Use her blood and her antibodies to make cures for all these illnesses that are facing the world as we know it. But the kid, in her little narration voiceover, says this is how the world ends. So, but that's, like, this is, again, network television. If this series goes on long enough to have an ending, it's gonna, even Fox doesn't have the balls to, like, really end the world. Probably, I would say it's more like the world, the world ended, but started something brand new. We're not looking at a whole world just completely taken over by vampires, I don't believe. It's just melodrama for the sake of melodrama. But speaking of this little girl, I do got to give it up to her. What is her name? Man, does everybody have to have a name that I can't pronounce? I read well, and I can't. Sydney, it's like Saniyya. Why do you need two Y's in a row? Saniyya, Sydney. I'm not trying to be a dick. I don't understand that. That little girl playing Amy Belafonte kills it in this. She's a really talented actress, and I was really impressed by her. And she works really well off of Gosler. And they find her. Her mom dies of an overdose, and she's carrying around a wrinkle in time because that's a thing. And they take her, and she's giving them the business, that she doesn't believe them, that she's smart enough, she's street savvy enough to know that they're not telling her the truth and all this stuff. But as they're taking her along, she goes with them, and they're telling her they're taking her to Colorado to get help, even though she knows that's a lie. And Brad, Gosler's character, starts to feel guilty about where they're taking her, to the point of where they end up on the run. You also find out a little bit more about his character, that he had a child that I'm going to say died, and that his wife, played by Emmanuelle Chriqui, who still looks good. They've got this, clearly, they're an ex-wife, his ex-wife that he still loves, and they're on the run, and these cops are now after them. His business, his people are after them, and they're serious people. They don't take prisoners, so they're doing all this in secret. I don't even know if this is military, and if it is, it's black book kind of stuff. So anybody that gets, in the middle of this is going to be collateral damage. And Brad decides that he should turn himself in, because that's smart. And, of course, the cops get a call from the Department of Defense. So, yeah, I mean, it is I guess it is through the government and everything. And they take out the cop place, pretty easy. And you can just tell where this is headed, but from trailers, you know that they end up at the lab, so they're on the run. But since you already know they get caught or whatever, turn themselves in again, I don't know. The first episode kind of ends anticlimactically, because once you see that a trailer that plays immediately after this episode, you know that it's futile. They're going to end up there. So, but whatever, it's just network TV not knowing how to make trailers better to, maybe not show you everything that's coming. They do that a lot. And I've talked enough about it. I really have. And it's good. It is good. It's not the best written show. It's not even, aside from the little girl, and the acting is adequate. It's all right. It's like I said, it's better. It's the best thing on network that I've seen in a while, at least pilot-wise, the first episode being pretty good. One problem I do have, one of the things that's bugging me, and it's just another nerd nitpick, is, okay, so they say that the vampires don't exist, but they use the word vampire, okay? So there's lore. There is at least the mythos of vampires, right? Just like how some reason in Walking Dead, they never say zombie. So you clearly would go, okay, that means that there is no lore in the Walking Dead universe. They've never heard of an undead person. But in this, they do. They actually know that there is a story, at least, about vampires. And if they do, they would understand right away that if people are having dreams, okay, even I know that in Bram Stoker's Dracula used like dreams and mind and like telepathy, psychic stuff to get into people's heads and get them to do what he wanted. And that's I wish I could remember the character's name that he got to do his bidding. But it's already happening. And if you know the story at all, okay? And I've never even read Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I know this. That if somebody tells you that they're dreaming that this guy is trying to get me to do things for him and telling me this, you don't go, hey man, you're just having dreams. You go, oh fuck, I think that guy's trying to control people's minds. But they just presumably, nobody's read the book or seen the movies. How many vampire movies are there where they try to take people over with their minds? So we're all supposed to just go, okay. And that's fine. Like I said, it's a nerd nitpick, you know, just like the whole thing with the exposition dump. But anyway, if you do have the opportunity to watch this, I do recommend it, even if I've complained about it a little bit. And yes, I don't like Mark Paul Gosselaar, but I'm trying to wipe away the Zach Morris memories from my brain so that I can watch this. And, you know, yeah, I do believe that this is going to end up being more of a road show, like them on the run from whatever, you know, the not vampires. But that's it. This is a recommendation video, mostly. Like I said, I don't know if I'll continue to watch this show. I might give it more of a chance to see just where it's headed, and if it gets better, you know, or it gets worse, I don't know. But anyway, that's it. So if you liked this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, this is Rob at Smirking Gun Review saying have a great night, and we will see you on the next video. Bye.